What if I told you that soil is completely optional? That some of the most colorful, most dramatic, most visually stunning plants you can grow indoors thrive in nothing but a glass of water on your windowsill. No mess, no fungus gnats, no forgotten watering schedules, no root rot from overwatering. Just clean water, a beautiful vessel, and plants that grow more vigorously than you ever expected without a single handful of potting mix. Today I'm showing you 10 stunning plants that grow in water with no soil needed. Let us get into it. Plant 1. Coleus. The most colorful water plant you will ever grow. Coleus Plectranthus produces some of the most extraordinarily vivid leaf coloration available from any indoor plant, and it roots in water so readily and so quickly that you will have a thriving display within 2 weeks of placing a cutting in a glass. The color combinations available in modern Coleus varieties are genuinely staggering. Deep burgundy edged with lime green, bright scarlet with chocolate borders, pink with cream margins, gold with red centers. Each leaf is its own small work of art and water growing. Displays those leaves against the clean background of a clear glass vessel in a way that soil pots never achieve. Take a stem cutting 4 to 6 inches long just below a leaf node. Remove the lower leaves so nothing sits below the waterline, leaving 2 or 3 pairs of leaves above. Place in a clean glass of room temperature water in bright indirect light. Roots emerge from the nodes within 7 to 10 days, white and delicate, reaching through the water in a display that is itself ornamental through a clear glass vessel. Change the water every 7 days and add a single drop of liquid fertilizer every 2 weeks to maintain the vivid leaf coloration that makes Coleus so spectacular. The color intensity of Coleus is directly related to light availability. Brighter indirect light produces more saturated, more vivid colors. Lower light causes the colors to soften and the leaf patterns to become less defined. Position your water-grown Coleus in the brightest available indirect light for the most dramatic color display. Avoid direct sun, which scorches the leaves regardless of growing medium. The most colorful plant on this entire list, growing in nothing but water, turning any windowsill into a living artwork. Plant 2. Begonia. The flowering water beauty. Begonia is the plant that surprises people most when they discover it grows in water, because the immediate assumption is that such a floriferous, seemingly demanding plant must need rich soil and careful feeding to produce its characteristic blooms. The reality is that begonias root readily in water and continue producing flowers from water culture with a cheerfulness that makes them one of the most rewarding plants on this list for anyone who wants color rather than just foliage. Wax begonias, Begonia semperflorens, and cane begonias both root successfully in water. Take stem cuttings, 4 to 5 inches long, remove lower leaves, and place in water with 1 or 2 nodes submerged. Roots develop within 2 to 3 weeks. The plant continues its growth cycle in water, pushing out new leaves and eventually new flower clusters that appear above the waterline while the root system develops below. The flowers that begonias produce in water culture are smaller than those of established soil-grown plants, but no less charming for their reduced scale. Clusters of small flowers in pink, red, white, or orange appear on stems above the foliage, creating a miniature flowering display in a glass vessel that looks deliberately designed rather than accidentally achieved. Change the water weekly and feed very lightly with liquid fertilizer monthly. Begonia in a clear glass vase with visible roots and flowers simultaneously is one of the most elegant water plant displays possible. Plant 3. Purple Heart. The richest color in water. Purple Heart, Tridascantia pallida, earns its position on this list through sheer color intensity. The deep, saturated purple of the leaves and stems, a color so vivid it photographs almost as a solid block of jewel-tone pigment, is one of the most dramatic effects available from any houseplant. And in water, with those richly colored stems visible above the waterline and white roots developing visibly below, Purple Heart creates a two-tone display that is genuinely stunning in any clear glass vessel. Stem cuttings of 3 to 4 inches placed in water begin rooting within a week. The purple pigmentation is maintained in water culture, particularly in bright light, which is where the color reaches its maximum intensity. Lower light causes the purple to fade toward green as the plant adjusts its pigment production in favor of chlorophyll for photosynthesis. Keep Purple Heart in the brightest available indirect light, or even a few hours of morning direct sun to maintain the extraordinary color that makes it worth growing. Small pink-purple flowers appear at the stem tips periodically, adding another layer of color to an already vivid display. Change the water every 7 days. Multiple cuttings growing together in the same vessel create a denser, more impressive display than single stems, and the tangled root system visible through clear glass adds textural interest to the color spectacle above the waterline. Purple Heart is the plant that makes visitors do a double take, because nothing about the color looks real until they reach out and touch it. Plant 4. Impatiens. The shade-loving flower in a glass. Impatiens, the classic shade garden annual, is one of the least expected plants on this list and one of the most delightful discoveries for anyone who tries it. These prolific, continuously flowering plants root in water from stem cuttings within 10 to 14 days and continue producing their characteristic small, flat-faced flowers in water culture with impressive persistence, creating a tiny perpetually flowering display in a glass vessel that can sit in lower light conditions than most other water plants tolerate. Take cuttings just below a node, remove lower leaves, and place in water immediately. Impatiens wilts dramatically when cut, but recovers within a few hours once the cut end is in water as the stems rehydrate. Once stabilized and rooted, the plants establish a reliable growth and flowering cycle. The flowers drop cleanly when finished, and new buds replace them continuously, so the water-grown impatiens never looks finished or exhausted between flowering flushes. The color range in impatiens is extensive. Soft pinks, deep reds, pure whites, oranges, and bicolors are all available from readily sourced cuttings from garden center plants. A collection of different colored impatiens cuttings in separate small clear glasses creates an effortlessly cheerful windowsill display that costs almost nothing to establish and maintains itself with weekly water changes and occasional liquid fertilizer. The plant that fills every shady garden border in summer translates perfectly to a water-grown indoor display that flowers continuously year-round. Plant 5. African Violet Leaves. The single leaf that becomes a plant. African violet, Saintpaulia ionantha, offers one of the most miraculous water propagation experiences available from any plant, because you begin not with a stem cutting, but with a single leaf, and from that single leaf, an entirely new plant develops over weeks of patient observation in a glass of water. The process is simple, the result is extraordinary, and watching a plantlet emerge from the base of a leaf petiole, submerged from the waist of a leaf teole, submerged in water, is one of the most genuinely astonishing things a plant does. Select a healthy, mature leaf from an established African violet, and leave 1 to 1.5 inches of the leaf stalk, called the petiole, attached. Suspend the petiole in water, so only the lowest portion is submerged, keeping the leaf blade above the waterline. Use a piece of aluminum foil over the glass opening to hold the petiole at the correct depth if needed. Place in warm, bright, indirect light and wait. Within 4 to 8 weeks, tiny plantlets emerge from the submerged petiole base, miniature versions of the parent plant, complete with their own root systems. The plantlets can be separated gently once they reach an inch in size and transition to soil at that point, or left in water to continue developing. Multiple plantlets often emerge from a single leaf petiole simultaneously, giving you several new plants from one original leaf. African violet leaves in water are the most magical entry point to water propagation that exists and consistently convert skeptics into enthusiasts the moment the first tiny plantlet appears. Plant 6. Sweet Potato Vine. The rapid water grower. Sweet potato vine, Epimoya batatas, grows in water with a speed and enthusiasm that is genuinely astonishing the first time you witness it. Place a sweet potato tuber, either an edible variety or an ornamental one with purple or variegated foliage, partially submerged in a jar of water, and watch what happens over the following week. Roots emerge from the bottom within days. Purple shoots push upward from the top within the first week. Within a month, the vine is trailing enthusiastically from the jar, pushing out heart-shaped leaves on long stems that cascade over whatever surface they reach. The ornamental sweet potato varieties with deep purple, lime green, or tricolor foliage create a particularly spectacular water display. The contrast between the rough tuber surface, the white root fringe below, and the vivid colored vines cascading above creates a living sculpture effect that looks deliberately artistic. Use a clear glass jar large enough to support the tuber while allowing roots to develop freely below. Change the water every 10 days and keep the jar in bright indirect light or a few hours of morning direct sun for best foliage color and growth rate. The sweet potato vine growing in water also produces a genuinely educational display about how plant roots develop, making it one of the most engaging water plants for families with children who can observe the entire growth process through the transparent vessel. It is also entirely edible if you are growing a culinary sweet potato variety, giving you fresh young leaves for cooking while the ornamental vine grows. Plant 7. Oregano. The edible herb that earns its place. Oregano, Oreganum vulgare, is the practical entry on this list, the herb that earns its position not through dramatic foliage or spectacular flowers, but through genuine daily usefulness in the kitchen, combined with water-growing ease that makes it one of the most cost-effective plants anyone with a kitchen windowsill can maintain. Fresh oregano harvested seconds before using is so dramatically more flavorful than dried herbs that anyone who tastes the difference stops reaching for the spice jar permanently. Take stem cuttings 4 to 5 inches long from fresh oregano, either from a garden plant or from fresh herbs purchased at a grocery store. Remove lower leaves and place in clean water in a sunny kitchen windowsill. Roots emerge within 10 to 14 days. Once rooted, the plant begins producing new growth from the tip, and this new growth is the most flavorful and most aromatic part of the plant. Tender and intensely fragrant with the volatile oils that give oregano its characteristic warm, slightly spicy fragrance. Harvest regularly by snipping stem tips just above a leaf node, which encourages branching and more productive growth rather than allowing the plant to grow long and leggy. Change the water every 5 to 7 days as herbs are heavier users of the nutrients that accumulate in their water culture. Feed every 2 weeks with a diluted liquid fertilizer to maintain vigorous production. A small collection of herb cuttings in matching clear glasses along a kitchen windowsill provides daily fresh herbs and a display that is simultaneously practical and genuinely attractive. Plant 8. Snake plant. The architectural water classic. Snake plant Sansevieria trifasciata is the plant that most people assume would never grow in water because its reputation is built on the ability to survive complete neglect in dry conditions. But snake plant sections and leaves root successfully in water and make one of the most architecturally striking water plant displays available from any commonly grown houseplant. Those upright, boldly striped leaves rising from a clean glass vessel with white roots visible through the glass create a display of genuine structural elegance. Take a healthy leaf and cut it into sections of 3 to 4 inches, noting which end was facing upward on the original plant. The polarity matters. Place sections with the original bottom end down in water, submerging the lower inch of each section. Roots emerge from the bottom, cut within 2 to 4 weeks. For a more immediate display, place a full leaf in a tall, narrow vase with the bottom end in water, creating an instantly attractive vertical display while roots develop at the base. Snake plant roots in water more slowly than faster-growing plants on this list, but the patience required is rewarded by one of the most long-lived and maintenance-free water plants available. Change the water every 2 weeks, as snake plant is tolerant of the slightly stagnant conditions that would stress more sensitive water plants. Keep in indirect light from bright to low, as snake plant tolerates the full range of indoor light conditions. For water plant displays, where structural elegance and genuine longevity matter more than rapid growth, snake plant is the benchmark. Plant 9. Aloe vera. The functional water grower. Aloe vera, Aloe barbadensis Miller, brings the same first aid functionality to water growing that it provides in soil culture. The gel inside the leaves retains its wound healing, burn soothing, and skin hydrating properties, regardless of how the plant is grown, and propagating aloe offsets in water before transitioning them to soil or maintaining them in water long-term provides the same practical benefits in a cleaner, more visually interesting growing format. Separate aloe pups. The small offset plants that develop around the base of a mature mother plant and place their base in water with the lower portion submerged. Aloe develops roots in water within 2 to 4 weeks, transitioning from its succulent soil-growing habit to water culture with more adaptability than its dry climate reputation suggests. The thick, fleshy leaves store water independently of the root system, which makes the transition to water culture less stressful for aloe than for thinner-leaved plants that depend entirely on root uptake. The architectural quality of aloe in a clear glass vessel is similar to snake plant, providing upright structural interest with the bonus of practical leaf gel available whenever you need it for a minor burn, cut, or skin irritation. Change the water every 2 weeks. Keep in the brightest light available. The combination of ornamental structure, air purification through documented formaldehyde and benzene absorption, and genuine first-aid utility from a plant growing in water on your kitchen counter makes aloe one of the most multifunctional plants on this list. Plant 10. ZZ plant, the indestructible water performer. ZZ plant, Zamioculcas zamiifolia, closes this list as the plant that proves water growing works even for the most seemingly soil-dependent tropical houseplants. Those glossy, deep green, perfectly oval leaflets arranged in precise pennant fronds create a polished professional appearance in any setting, and propagating ZZ plant in water through leaf cuttings produces new plants that can be maintained in water long-term with extraordinary success. Remove individual leaves with their short petioles attached and place them petiole down in a small glass of water. Within 2 to 4 months, a small rhizome develops at the base of the submerged petiole, followed eventually by new fronds emerging from that rhizome. The process is slow, but requires no attention beyond weekly water changes and produces a genuinely independent new plant from a single leaf. For anyone who wants to multiply their ZZ plant collection without purchasing new plants, water propagation is the most reliable method available. Established ZZ plants transition from soil to water by carefully cleaning all soil from the root system and placing the rhizomes in water provide long-term water culture success. The thick rhizomes store water and nutrients similarly to succulents, buffering the plant through any inconsistency in water change schedules. Change the water every 2 weeks. Keep in any indoor light from bright to low. The plant that is famous for surviving neglect in soil is equally indestructible in water, maintaining its glossy, impeccable appearance indefinitely with the absolute minimum of care. If this video just convinced you that your windowsill, your kitchen counter, or your desk can hold a stunning water garden with no soil, no mess, and almost no effort, smash that like button right now and help this reach everyone who thinks indoor gardening is too complicated. Drop a comment and tell me which plant you are putting in water today. Are you going colorful with coleus and purple heart? Practical with oregano? Magical with African violet leaves? I read every comment. Subscribe and ring the notification bell because every week we make growing beautiful plants simpler than you ever thought possible. See you in the next one.